Hi, in today's video, I'm going to be going over how to disclose your mental illness to your employer. Hi, and welcome back to the Living Well with Schizophrenia channel. My name is Lauren, and I make videos about what it's like to live with schizoaffective disorder or schizophrenia. And if you'd like to see more videos from us, make sure to subscribe. Also, if you would like to help support the creation of videos like this, please check out the link to our Patreon page. When you join Patreon, you also gain access to our private Discord community where we offer peer support through various mediums such as text channels as well as weekly peer support groups. So if that's something that interests you, make sure to check out the link to our Patreon page. Also, a really big thank you to all of our current patrons. We could not be doing this without you. Thank you. All right, so this is actually the next video in our advice series where I answer different questions or give advice on scenarios that are submitted by you, our audience. Okay, so the question that was submitted was, I am drowning at work and I fear that I will have no choice but to disclose my illness to my employer. I'm wondering what the best way is to do this. Do you have any experience with this? What is the process like? So great question. And I think this is something that a lot of people who are dealing with chronic illnesses, especially mental illnesses, struggle with, where, when their mental illness starts to impact their workplace or their work life, the question around disclosure can come up. So if you decide that you do want to disclose, I will provide some tips for that and also share about some of my own experiences with doing so. So it's gone a multitude of different ways for me in terms of disclosing to employers in different situations. So the first time that I disclosed to an employer that I was dealing with mental health struggles, I didn't get into the nitty-gritty, but I just kind of let them know that I was dealing with mental health struggles. They were very accommodating and they asked what kind of accommodations I needed and how we could work together. And we had really great open communication about that. The next time I disclosed to an employer, though, when issues were coming up and I needed some time off work because of mental health struggles, it went a very different way. And I kind of got pushed out of the job because I was having mental health struggles. They didn't necessarily explicitly let me go or fire me, but they kind of pushed me to resign on my own by, kind of making me feel bad about keeping a spot with them. So I'm going to give some tips to hopefully avoid this and hopefully come out with the best possible experience in terms of disclosing to your employer. So my first tip is just to have it very clear in your mind how you want to present your mental illness or your struggles or whatnot to your employer, and having it very clear in your mind how you want to formulate what you are presenting to them and what you are bringing forward to them. The second tip being to have some, education about it. So do your own research into what exactly the diagnosis means, or being able to provide resources and whatnot if your employer has any questions about the illness. The third tip is to know in your mind before you go in what kind of accommodations may be helpful for you. So some examples of these can include, maybe having reduced work hours, or having everything that your boss communicates with you in written format. Or maybe it's asking for more flexibility on deadlines, or just, doing anything like this with your employer to mitigate or reduce stress in the workplace. Your accommodations can really be anything that you feel would help you succeed in the workplace, and knowing what these things are in order to present to your employer would be really helpful. And then the fourth tip that I have is just to try to keep lines of communication with your employer as open as possible. So letting them know when you're struggling and need a little bit of extra support or increased accommodations. And likewise, being receptive to hearing what they need from you as well in order to have a cohesive work relationship. Now, if you are in a larger organization that has a human resources department, an HR department, and you don't quite feel comfortable disclosing to your immediate supervisor, your boss, then you can always go to human resources, the HR department, and let them know what you're struggling with. And then they will be able to go to your boss or your employer and let them know what accommodations you need without necessarily letting them know what you're struggling with or what your mental illness is. If you're looking for a little bit more discretion in terms of letting people know that letting people you're working with know about what you're struggling with. And all these tips are also for if you choose that disclosing is the best option for you. There's also absolutely the option to just not disclose. If you feel that your illness is not really impacting your work presence at all, then it may not be necessary to disclose at all. And not disclosing a mental illness to an employer is not lying or being deceitful at all. It is completely up to you if you want to disclose or not. Also, just a quick note that if you do disclose and you feel you are being treated differently, lesser, or if you are just let go or pushed out of a position because of your disclosure, here in Canada where I live, that goes against the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and I'm sure it goes against in other places too. There are numerous laws in place to protect people who are living with disabilities from this kind of discrimination. Now, the way I've kind of presented this is kind of the best case scenario where things go really well and your boss or employer is really receptive to what you're coming to them with and communication is working really great. I understand that this is not necessarily always the case. There is still, unfortunately, a lot of stigma around mental illness and mental health issues in the workplace and in society in general. And so, disclosing may not go this smoothly. And so again, if you do have problems, well, first off, I just want to stress the importance of advocating for yourself throughout the process. And advocating for yourself may involve, if need be, seeking legal aid to either contest being let go from a job or mistreatment as a result of your disclosure. All right, so I hope this video was helpful in terms of talking about how to disclose your mental illness to an employer. If you have any other tips that we didn't cover in this video, we would love to hear them in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from us, make sure to subscribe. Also, just a quick reminder that if you want to help support the creation of these videos, please check out the link to our Patreon page. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, wishing you and your loved ones good health. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.